Hello, and welcome to the OriginMD channel. This is an Origins and Aether Revolt only blue and black, or Demir deck, that relies on control spells and tricks to win. It's assumed you've already watched the level 1 video discussing which set to build up first, and level 2 video regarding the basic types of decks there are in Magic. This deck works by using removal, artifact and improvise synergies, and card draw to generate the advantage. Mass removal is used to survive early aggression, and unblockable and hexproof creatures are used to win the game. This deck starts coming online from turn 3. Ideally, you'd want to cast out an artifact on turn 1 or 2. Turn 3, you can attack or defend with Tethered's Touch. Turn 4, wipe the board against aggro or make your attackers unblockable. Alternatively, you can hold on to counterspells against control. Your World of Rogue provides you with unblockable creatures. Bastion Inventors have hexproof and a sizable body, but in testing, heavy removal and counterspell decks have been able to stall out the game and win by having access to better creatures and planeswalkers. Try to close out the game before it happens versus control. Depending on when you play in the cycles discussed in level 2, you might reach as high as rank 25-35 with this deck, although by adding more sets, particularly Kaladesh, this deck can become much more powerful. This deck features games versus rank 30-40 players. You'll likely have it easier. The priority against aggro and midrange decks is to survive for the first few turns. Use early game removal such as Fatal Push for this. If you play versus control or the opponent is not too aggressive, you can start drawing cards with an Alchemist Vial and Artificer's Epiphany. Metallic Rebuke is your counterspell that can be used against midrange and control to great effect. World of Rogue can provide you with the chump blockers, or later in the game can be used to make your creatures unblockable. Mid-game, you'd want to use one of the board wipes. For especially problematic creatures in live game, you can use Battle at the Bridge. As a bonus, it can also get rid of indestructible creatures. Of note is a mini combo of Yahini's expertise into enchanting an artifact with Tethered's Touch. This can swing the game in your favor quite fast. Using your enchanted metal army from Tethered, Auras and hexproof creatures, and making them unblockable should be enough to close out the game. Against control, your best way of winning is to draw more cards than the opponent, and deploy your threats quicker. Now, let's discuss each card in more detail. The Merchant Dockhand is a creature that can help us survive early game, chump block, or search our library in mid and late game. Also a good bait for opponent's removal. Renegade Map is a cheap 1-drop for our Improvise synergies. Testing proved that this deck rarely suffers from mana issues, and this 1-drop comes into play tapped, so it can be replaced by some other low-cost artifact. Fatal Push is our bulwark against early aggression. There are ways to trigger Revolt in our deck as well, widely useful against manlands. Battle at the Bridge is a sorcery, somewhat limiting its scope of usefulness. However, it works extremely well in mid and late game. By granting additional life and heavily improvised mechanic grant extra damage. Jace is an all-star planeswalker. He filters the cards and can be very useful when flipped, as instants and sorceries can be cast from the graveyard. Drawing cards and removal for a second time is extremely welcome. Serral Schematic creates a token. To get the other token, it has to be sacrificed, either by Herald of Anguish or enchanting it with Touch or Tethered's Ultimate and getting it killed. The Alchemist Vial is useful as a card draw engine. Target for Tethered's Touch enchantment, which allows it to attack for on turn 3 and returns to your hand if it gets destroyed. Can also be sacrificed to stop an attack or blocker. Tethered's Touch is what makes our deck viable and versatile. 5 power and toughness are considerable on turn 3. Just be aware that if you cast it on an artifact, it's affected by Summoning Sickness. As a bonus, if you enchant the card like an Alchemist Vial and get it destroyed, you get to cast it again and draw a card. Artifice's Epiphany is great for us, because we do usually control an artifact, and drawing extra cards is super important, since we have more choices on what we can do next. Since it's an instant, try to play at your opponent's end step to bluff for a possible counterspell or removal. Metallic Rebuke is a conditional counterspell. Nevertheless, it can be played for only 1 blue mana if we have 2 untapped artifacts, making it great for our deck. Nobody expects the Metallic Rebuke. Whirler can be a savior. For 4 mana, you get 4 power on the board. You can tap artifacts and not necessarily Thopters to make creatures unblockable. The Thopters have evasion and can be used as chump blockers to stabilize. Excellent card all around. Languish is our second answer to aggro, while Yahini's expertise is our board wipe of choice, allowing us to combo for Tezzeret's touch free of charge. An occasional card draw spell or a cheap artifact can also be used here. Tezzeret is our only non-flip planeswalker. Creates additional artifacts that can be used to improvise or sacrifice for mana. His second ability can be used to get rid of problematic creatures. However, his ultimate, which takes only 2 turns to get to if he is left untouched by an opponent, can be real game winner in our deck, making our artifact army scary indeed. Reverse Engineer is mainly powered by the Improvise mechanic in our deck. 2 blue mana for 3 cards? Yes please. Boston Inventor is here versus control decks, and it's difficult to remove due to its hexproof ability. Creatureless control decks hate him. Herald of Anguish is an extremely powerful card that can hit the field early due to Improvise ability, can sacrifice artifacts to get rid of opponent's creatures, and makes opponents discard cards. A sizable body with evasion. Unfortunately, we can have only one of them in the deck. As for the mana base, we have 11 islands, 7 swamps, 2 drowned catacombs, and 4 revolving wilds. Now that we have discussed the deck, let's play. Alright, we don't have a black source of mana, so I think we can do better than this. Let's keep this hand and try it. Evolving Wilds from the opponent. Green and black. Has an Implement of Malice. We don't mind discarding one more island here for sure. Let's get an island out and the servo schematic. Next turn we need only 1 blue mana to get the Metallic Rebuke. Alright, Lifecrafter's Bestiary, so he's going to scry a lot. And he can also draw plenty of cards. I think I don't mind going for an Evolving Wilds here and getting another swamp. We're going to attack, and we have kept up enough to get the Metallic Rebuke going. Depending on what our opponent is going to play next turn. He gets to scry, alright. Implement of Malice. Let's discard an island here. Right, what is this? Another Implement of Malice. This is fine. We can discard the Evolving Wild since we have two sources of any mana. This is going to be a tap land. So we got ourselves an Alchemist Vial, and we can also get the Bastion Inventor out, which I think is a decent choice here, considering it has hexproof, and it also won't be hit by Euphenia's expertise. Well, it will get hit, just not destroyed. Fortunately, we don't have the Metallic Rebuke here, but let's wait and see what our opponent is gonna play. I hope it's not a Languish. It's going to be a Gitrog monster. Alright. A creature with Death Touch. Interesting, we got ourselves a Whirler Rogue. So we can start hitting for 4. Or we can go for an Alchemist Vial and keep up the Rebuke. I think I don't mind not attacking this turn. Just drawing another card, see if it's gonna be a land or something. See if our opponent is going to be aggressive. I'm not going to play out Chase this turn. And we'll keep the Metallic Rebuke up. Right. Opponent sacrifices a land, draws 2 cards. Let's see, what is this? Gather the pack. Alright, nothing much we can do about it. Let's see, Unbridled Growth, Grasp of Darkness. He's gonna draw even more cards. He's in Quagmire. Alright. Yes or no? Does he have Delirium? Yes, he does. More Death Touch. No, thank you. Right, Whispers of Emrakul. We're going to discard 2 cards here. So unfortunately Chase is going to hit the graveyard. But we did get to keep the Whirler Rogue, which is not too bad since we can now hit for 4. And go to the next turn. Our opponent is going to scry some more. Sacrifice a land, draw additional 2 cards. Alright, he got himself another Implement of Malice. Let's see if he's gonna use it. He is. So we're going to have to discard the island, which is not too bad. Fatal Push on the World Rogue. Alright. Another Implement of Malice. He's going to attack, which is fine. We're just gonna block with the servo token here. I don't mind dealing 6 damage to our opponent, considering that we can sacrifice the Alchemist Vial. We also have the Bastion Inventor number 2, And we can tap down 2 artifacts, which I think is quite a decent choice, considering he will have the implement of Malice up next turn, so we cannot really keep him in hand. Without risking it being discarded, our opponent is going to draw some more. Well, he's going to scry, sacrifice the land, and draw 2 additional cards. Let's see if he has mass removal like Languish here. He does have a Moldgraf Scavenger, so he does have Delirium and is at 3/4. Sacrifices and Evolving Wilds. This means additional card draw for our opponent because of the Gitrog monster. Alright. Quite a lot of Death Touch creatures here. Let's see if he attacks with the Gitrog monster here. He does. We are not going to block. We'll take 6. Alright, we got ourselves a World Rogue. Not too bad. We can hit for 4 unblockable damage this turn. Well, actually for 6 unblocked damage this turn. Let's cast out the World of Rogue straight away, since he still has the Implement of Malice up. And then unless our opponent has a sweeper, we are on track to win the game. We get in for 4. Yep, I should have probably used the Thopters to attack as well. But I do doubt our opponent is going to have enough creatures to block all the flyers. So let's just wait and see if he has a mass removal. And he will be able to swing the game in his favor. Narwood Dryad draws a card. Any more creatures? Implement of Malice draws another card. Alright, Winding Constrictor. Also quite a good card, but I don't really see how he's even putting counters on his creatures. Anyway, he does have only 1 green or black mana available. Attacks with everything. Let's see. I think I don't mind just blocking with one of the Thopters. We're down to 8. Right, we got ourselves a Tezzeret Touch. So let's enchant the servo schematic. Let's use the World of Rogues ability. Our opponent has left the game. So evidently he does not have a fog. We're going to attack with the unblockable servo schematic and 2 of our Thopters. And this is gonna be game. let's have a look at what we have. I think we can do better than this. Alright, let's keep this hand. Looks at least a little bit promising. Gets an island, alright. Let's play out an island as well. Attack for 1. Alright, interesting. Blinding drone that can tap creatures. Well, we do have a choice. We can go for the Tezzeret Touch and enchant the Merchant's Dock hand. I think I don't really hate this. Let's see if he is willing to block. He doesn't, we get in for 5. Alright, now has the ability to tap down my Merchant Dock hand. So we got ourselves the He's going to spend 1 mana on this. We can either go for Yehini's Expertise this turn, or we can go for Tezzeret. I do think I'm fine with going for Tezzeret here. And just creating one of the artifacts. Since I'm still waiting to see if he will have any other creatures so that we can Yehini's Expertise and get rid of a few creatures instead of 1. And having Tezzeret use his ultimate is also not too bad. Opponent uses an Evolving Wilds. Gets an island, alright. Does he attack? No, he doesn't. So we can even go for a Boston Inventor here. Let's +1 Tezzeret as well. We can also alternatively just go for an Alchemist File. We'll have 3 for 5. So we can actually go for an Alchemist File and get the Herald of Anguish or a Boston Inventor out. Though Herald of Anguish, let's see. Yeah, he does need a bit more. We can get the Boston Inventor out. Alright. Let's go for an Alchemist File. We got 1 more mana. Where do we get the black mana from? Let's go for the Boston Inventor. If he uses a counter spell, he will not have enough to block. Let's see. Right? Our inventor has hexproof, so he won't be able to target with the blinding drone. Let's see what's our opponent's plan. We'll also have Tezzeret use his ultimate next turn. So he must really have something solid. Alright. Let's use Tezzeret's ultimate. Let's see, we've got 5 mana. How many artifacts will we have if we tap down? We have 1, 2, 3, 4. So definitely not too bad. Let's go for the servo schematic. Create some additional tokens. We can tap 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 2, so that's good. Let's use the servo schematic as the template for the ultimate. And now we're going to attack. Oh, I cannot use it this turn. It's really just too bad. On the bright side, our opponent wasn't able to use the blinding drone, since it seems we have confirmed too fast. So yeah, you can count as if he blocked the servo schematic here. I don't even think I'm going to cast the Herald of Anguish, because I did fear that he has a counterspell of some sorts. Right, has a thought notes here, so probably going to discard the Herald of Anguish. Which I think is fine. We do have quite a lot of creatures and he's completely tapped out. And our opponent has left the game. So we're going to make one of the Ethereum cells here combat ready, and we're going to attack. Yep, this is still enough. Let's see. Turn 3 Tezzeret's Touch doesn't seem too bad. We also have a sweeper here, so I think I'm gonna keep this hand. Our opponent starts within green and black theme. So let's start off with a swamp then. Let's see. Black and green. Any creatures? No. Alright, let's go for Drowned Catacomb and the Alchemist Vial this turn. We got ourselves a Renegade map. It's quite a few targets for our Tezzeret's Touch. Alright, our opponent starts off with Talia, Heretical Healer, which is fine, since it's in the range of the Yehini's expertise that we need. We also have the Fatal Push if we decide to go for it. Let's see, do I want to enchant the Alchemist Vial with the Tezzeret's Touch right now? Or do I want to keep up a counter spell for our opponent and just play out the Renegade map right now? I think I don't really mind just going aggressive right now. See how it works with this deck. Let's see if he is willing to block. He isn't, takes 5. Alright, attacks with the Thalia. We take 3 damage, has 4 mana available. No spells, this is really interesting. Let's play out another island. I think I will keep up the Fatal Push to get rid of his Hissing Quagmire. So I'm just going to attack. Alright, Fatal Push, so he has no land, which I think is completely fine. For us, he's down to 10. I can play out the Renegade map here and keep up the Metallic Rebuke with the Improvise mechanic. Oh, no, actually, since the Renegade map comes into play, tapped, I won't be able to. My bad. Our opponent is going to use Pulse of Murasa, so he's going to get the land back. Also gains plenty of life, now it's 16. Attacks with Thalia. We're down to 14. We do have Battle of the Bridge now. So first of all, I think we still want to attack. Leave our opponent at 11. Now, we do have enough land, so I don't see a reason to sacrifice the Renegade map. Question is, what do we want to do now? I think I want to keep up the Metallic Rebuke here. We could go for Yehini's expertise, but I feel like we might want to wait for him to cast any other creatures. Alright. Attacks with Thalia. We're down to 11 as well. Still nothing else. Interesting. Alright, we got ourselves 2 Metallic Rebukes. Let's go ahead and attack first. We only have sorcery speed removal at the moment. If we go for Battle of the Bridge, we can also gain some life. So I think we can get rid of Thalia here. We can get in for 5 damage here. And we can also keep up some mana for the Metallic Rebuke. So I think we can go for just dealing 2 damage and gaining 2 life here with the Battle of the Bridge. So we're up to 13. This means that our Whirl of Rogue will come into play untapped, and we can also have a Metallic Rebuke ready in case our opponent casts out a very scary spell. Alright, we got ourselves another Whirl of Rogue. So unfortunately we don't have another source of blue mana to go for the Metallic Rebuke here, in case our opponent has something special, but we can make our Alchemist Vial with Tezzeret's Touch unblockable, bypassing the Hissing Quagmire. Let's see if our opponent has any removal spell for him. And that brings our opponent down to 1. Alright, our opponent does have Sorin. Let's see which creature he's going to get rid of and gain some additional life. He's going to get rid of the Alchemist Vial, gain 6 life, but we do get the Alchemist Vial back. So let's see, we have 5 damage that we can deal. We can even deal 3 to our opponent and 1 to Sorin, which I think is fine. We can get out the Whirlrogue and we will have the Metallic Rebuke ready, because we can tap down the Renegade map. So let's go ahead and wait for our opponent's turn. Alright, he has Languish. We can Metallic Rebuke and then he will have to pay some extra. It's alright, we have another one, so I think it's fine. Right, we got ourselves a Battle on the Bridge. Not gonna be much of help to us. Let's see, we got ourselves an Evolving Vials that we can sacrifice and get another land. And now we wait. Thalia as well. He will have 3 mana to counteract it. So we have lost quite a lot of initiative, and we lost 2 out of 3 of our Roller Rogues, so we're probably overextended here for quite a bit. Let's see. We can go for Battle at the Bridge and get rid of the Sylvan Advocate here, also gain a lot of life in the process, and get the Tezzeret Touch and attack. So I think this is the plan here. Let's see, how much can we do? We can deal 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, 5 damage is how much we need. And then we're going to wait for our opponent's turn. We're up to 18. And we still have the Metallic Rebuke up, just in case. Yep. We're going to get rid of the Woodland Bellower here. He's going to attack for 3, but his in Quagmire is tapped. Alright, our opponent didn't attack. I think this is good on him. he made the correct decision, but we do have the Yukinis expertise that will allow us to go for the Desert's Touch. So, even despite all of the mistakes I've made, alright, this isn't... Our opponent has left the game. We're going to attack with the Vial, and even despite all the mistakes, we were able to win the game. I want to thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.